Situation in Nairobi County, we see that Governor Mike Sonko is expected to name his deputy tomorrow and also nominate a couple of CECs. We understand that he only remains with 3 substantive CECs in his government. He has no deputy governor, which he hasn't had for 1 year. And yesterday we saw that exchange between him and what is the name? CEC for Education, Janet Ouko. Of course, him accusing her that under her watch there was embezzlement of funds. And of course, Janet Ouko responding and saying that it's not true. That money can actually be traced to an MCA who transferred it to their own account. So, Senators, you oversee devolution at the Senate, and some of you hold some important committees that go to do with accountability at the counties. But what happens when you have a governor who has a certain personality and has had to lose all these officials? Some of them, he has fired them, suspended some, and others have resigned. So what do we do for Nairobi? Because service delivery doesn't wait. You cannot run a government personally or alone. Look at the situation in Nairobi County, where the governor does not have a deputy, and the law requires him to have a deputy. The governor does not have a substantive county secretary. The governor does not have a CC for finance, very critical for public finance management. He does not have a CC for health, which is one of the functions that is devolved almost 95%. He does not have a CC for education. Remember, early childhood education is devolved, and tertiary institutions, polytechnics. And you know that Nairobi is one of those former municipalities that used to manage its own education system. We had a lot of Kanjo schools. We still have Kanjo schools. We don't have someone substantive looking at that. And I can tell you that devolution is going to collapse in Nairobi if you continue this way. It was on 3rd of December 2018 that the Public Accounts Committee of the Senate that I was chairing then, and Senator Kimani Wamatangi is also a member. We had a candid discussion with Governor Sonko on the manner in which he treated his people, particularly his CECs and generally the staff of Nairobi County. We even offered to shed a little bit more light on motivational theory, that people perform well not because of the salaries they are paid, but because of the manner in which they are treated. Right. The manner in which Sonko has treated his executive is wrong, and there is no human resource professional, and there is no public service or civil service policy or approach that would support that kind of arrangement. Right. Nairobi has millions of residents. And I remember the exact words that we told Governor Sonko, that it is not difficult to find 10 non-corrupt people in Nairobi, because all the members of his cabinet, people that he has appointed personally, he ends up calling them corrupt. I believe in this city, and I believe in this Republic of Kenya, because to be a CEC in Nairobi, you don't have to be coming from Nairobi. You can even be coming from Northeastern. It is not difficult to find 10 men and 10 women who can render a job that can make Nairobi the shining gem that it is supposed to be. I do not support the conversation that is going on that we change the constitution to say that we have 46 counties rather than 47. Because you are not going to change laws to fix the failure of an individual. Right. What we must fix is the ability of Governor Sonko to run Nairobi like the metropolis that it should be. Senator Matangi, is that a possibility? Because that's the personality of the governor. Yesterday when he was asked a question on how he's going to manage the county, he said that he will not change. He will still remain vigilant. What he says, that his style of leadership will continue as it is. Can this situation be helped with the governor at the helm? We are still more than 3 years to the expiry of the term. You know, I'm just looking at the press statement he gave here in Mombasa, and he was saying that on Friday he's naming his cabinet and he's the deputy governor this Friday. And you know, it is possible for a governor like Sonko, irrespective of whatever character he has as an individual, to run a government effectively if he has in place an effective team. And then what I would be hoping is that in this lineup that he's saying he's going to form, then he's going to have individuals. And what Senator Kajwang has said when he appeared before us last time, he told the committee on how he was trying to work out and root out most of the people who had been affiliated to the previous regime. Right. That he claimed to have been part of the rot that has been in City Hall, and in County Hall, in City Hall. And one of the areas that, and I believe that would concur with my colleague here,
I remember when we were looking at the case relating to the land in Ruaraka, he came and gave useful information and helped us, because then, you know, he went down directly to the people who were involved in that corruption, in that corrupt deal. And what we would be looking at is, if then he can firmly put the lead and say, I have now dealt with all the people I wanted to have out of my system, and now I have a team that I trust. And now I can use this team and let them now work the way a team should work. And deliver on the services. You know, Nairobi is such an important county, and I believe, you know, if then he puts the right people, lets them do the work they are going to do, observe them, of course, ensure that there's no corruption. That's what he told us the last time. Then I think the city can change.
Okay, all right. And I want to...
And remember that, is it the president of, is it Madagascar who was a DJ?
Yes. Was it Rajolina?
Okay, all right.
The one of Philippines, I think, was he a wrestler?
Yes, and the Pope was a bouncer.
And the Pope was a bouncer in Peru.
So we wish the governor well.
So I mean, you know, any personality, whatever, as long as you have got a good team,
yes,
you can run a government, and I
all right.
believe
I want in closing to look at some of the other stories that you'll see on page 8 of the Standard. Crisis as MBAGATHI is hit by drug shortage. The biggest hospital operated by the Nairobi City County government is in a crisis arising from shortage of drugs. Patients in the wards have to buy medicine from private pharmacies. Can you imagine? Yeah. So we're still talking about universal health care, where every person is able to access affordable health care in the country, yet some of the government institutions are now having these challenges in terms of drugs and resources. I still get back to you because you are at the Senate and you oversee the devolution in this country. What do we need to do to ensure that these kind of things do not happen? If you are sick, you just need to be treated.
I mean, you can't fix this without a substantive office holder for health in Nairobi. MBAGATHI is a Nairobi City County institution. This is not something that you're going to blame Uhuru Kenyatta on or William Ruto. This is a failure of the governor and his team. And health is 95% devolved. The 5% that remains with the national government is policy and national referral hospitals, which are not many.
Sure.
And so governors must understand that issues of healthcare are issues that lie squarely in their dockets. If this is just an issue of sourcing of drugs from KEMSA, those are decisions that are made by CECs and chief officers. Nairobi does not have them. And so between Governor Sonko hosting the president in Mombasa or wherever and attending to some of these issues, that's why I was saying that you cannot run a city as complex as Nairobi as an individual. It cannot be a one-man show. And so we have to fix the leadership issue. And let's be hopeful that on Friday we are going to get a deputy governor, and I hope it won't be the Miguna kind of jokes. Let's hope that we are going to get men and women who have been tried and tested. And I go back some, that this idea of looking for CECs from the political class or looking for CECs from sycophants who supported you, this should end. Right. I believe that to be a CEC of Nairobi is almost equivalent to be a cabinet secretary in this republic, because of the complexity of Nairobi and the centrality of Nairobi in the life of not just Kenya, but of the region. But we can't have this kind of situation where hospitals have no drugs. When hospitals don't have drugs, the ECD centers in Nairobi, that is something that we have not looked at. You know, long time you could go to Kanjo schools, Kanjo nursery schools, and systems worked. What is the situation now that it has been devolved? It is pathetic, because we don't even have a substantive docket holder for the education sector within Nairobi.